Hello, this is Paulet Downey, and I am here with the Skincare Minute. So today I am going to be talking about sunscreen. So of course I'm going to start it off by talking about the skin. So the skin ages. So there's chronological aging, which is basically, like how a clock ticks. Over time, the skin degrades. It ages. It's chronological aging. Depending on your DNA, it may age earlier or later, but it does age. You do see the signs at the time, and that makes up about 30% of aging skin. So now there is environmental issues, chronological and environmental. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. So, with environmental aging, that has to do with everything from your lifestyle. So, smoking, drinking, diet, sleep, stress, any kind of illnesses that you are dealing with, and of course, and even like medication. Medication is another one. And the number one uh, environmental aging and pollution too. Forgot that. So pollution, but the number one is the sun. So the sun makes up most of the percentage for environmental aging. So the other ones, they play a part, and they play a very real part in the skin aging. But of that chunk, of that 70%, it is predominantly owned by the sun. And so, when we are now talking about the skin and how, what exactly happens, well, first we're going to talk about the sun. So I'm actually going to talk about the sun before I actually talk about the skin and the damage that the sun does to the skin. So you have UVA, so that's ultraviolet aging. So with ultraviolet aging, that goes right into the dermis. So the rays from the sun that are coming at it are going right to the dermis. So it's damaging the collagen and the fibers in the dermis area, as well as anything on the epidermis, but it can also cause cancer. So it goes deeper into the skin than the next one that I'm going to talk about. So, and it also does photoaging as well. So with UVB, ultraviolet burning, that hits the surface of the skin. I'm going to actually go back to UVA in a minute, but UVB, so it actually hits the face of the outer skin, the epidermis, and the top layers of the epidermis. So that causes burning as well as cancer as well. So with those two, rays coming at your skin, this is what's causing the skin to age. And so trying to think with the UVA, the ultraviolet aging, it penetrating right into the dermis level, just causing havoc. And then, so for that one, and that's a very important thing, with the UVA from dusk till dawn, you have UVA rays coming at your skin. So it could be on a cloudy day, it could be on a sunny day, it can be on a rainy day. UVA rays are always active every single day, 365 days a year. So UVA rays, they never go away, they are always aging the skin. So what you have with the UVA rays is you also have incidental rays coming at you, which is basically when you're inside. It could be when you're inside, sitting beside a window. It could be when you're going from your car, going into your car, leaving your car, going to work. Anything where you're in the sun, but you're not directly in the sun. So it's incidental, and usually there's like 7 hours of that that we normally get of incidental rays coming at our skin on a weekly basis. So even when you think, like I'm at home, it's on a, nice rainy day, I'm inside, I'm sitting beside my window, I'm reading a book, those rays are still coming at you. If it's in the wintertime and you have the reflection of the rays coming at you, like you have the sun, the snow on the ground, and then you have the reflection coming at you. The reflection is coming at you about 80% of the reflection that is hitting from the sun that is hitting the snow and coming at you is actually coming at your skin. So those UVA rays are extremely powerful. Those UVA rays, they hit you in water. They wherever you are, they hit you. They can hit even with clothing. So even if you're like fully clothed, those UVA rays, they can penetrate through that. So it is a very powerful one. With the UVB rays, that one is, the peak time is from 10 o'clock a.m. until 4 o'clock p.m. And it is present from June until September. So we're not dealing with that one all year, and it has its peak times. And if, say, you're wearing a hat, or if you have an umbrella, or if you're wearing clothing, like if you're fully clothed, UVB rays cannot penetrate through any of those. So you can actually protect yourself in other ways from UVB. With UVA, you are going, you need sunscreen for both, but you can also do other things for UVB, whereas with UVA, even if you go under shade, it'll find you there. It won't be as powerful under the shade as, say, if you're not under the shade, but it is very powerful. So, what is this? What's happening? What is the sun doing? What do we call this? So, what we call it is free radicals. So, free radicals are basically oxygen molecules. So, they're oxygen molecules in our skin. So, we have these, and it's what happens is when the rays are coming at us, the sun, when it is hitting the dermis, it is actually just destroying one of the electrons. So there are two electrons to every oxygen molecule. When one of those are destroyed, what ends up happening is then that molecule will take from another oxygen molecule because it only has one. And in order for the oxygen molecule to be effective, it needs two. So what happens? So with the chemical reaction that happened to that oxygen molecule has now been destroyed because of the sun. It takes seconds. It doesn't take long for the sun to do that kind of damage to your skin. So that, of course, it starts a chain reaction. And that's where that's what is called free radicals. And what that is doing, it is damaging the dermis level. So at the dermis level, it is, like making the skin tougher when it's going inside. No, sorry, at the epidermis level, it is making the skin tougher. At the epidermis level, it is destroying like the collagen and the fibers, and it is actually destroying the DNA at the dermis level and the connective tissues at that level. So it's actually it's destroying it, just wreaking complete havoc on the dermis, and then kicking in. So and on top of that, at the epidermis level, you have like you know what, I should not talk to, I realize that I'm being too technical here and you don't need to hear that, but at the dermis level, it is doing its damage, and it is also attacking a barrier that protects us from bacteria, so it weakens everything. So by leaking and everything, then the skin is more prone to bacteria being entered into the skin, and it is more prone to sagging. It is more prone to lines and wrinkles as a result, because it is a chain reaction and it is a cumulative thing. So it's not something that happens all at once. It is something that happens gradual. I'm going to give you a very good example. I was a part of a event that our company was having, and this event was basically to promote the products that we had to influencers in Canada. So we had a number of them come, and basically, we just sat with them. We gave each of them like a whole bunch of products to try, and then of course, share with their viewers. And they would come to us. We would examine their skin, and tell them the products that they should be using for their skin. And so what ended up happening is I got this one lady, very beautiful young lady. She was like 28 years old, had beautiful skin, absolutely gorgeous skin. So I took her under the skin analyzer. And so it's basically a magnifying, like a skin magnifying glass. So it allows us to see the skin at a deeper level, at the dermis level. And so beautiful skin. She had no pimples. She had nothing. It was just gorgeous. And she wasn't even wearing that much makeup. She had no foundation on, absolutely beautiful skin. And so she said to me, can I videotape this because I want to show this to my viewers, so they can see. And I said, sure, sure. You're welcome to it. So then I was showing her, and she's like, because she has this beautiful skin like you wouldn't think. But when she's like, she actually screamed, because she screamed at what she saw under her skin. And what was under her skin was a whole bunch of spots. And so she's like, what is that? And I told her that those are age spots. Like that's sun damage. Like that's all the sun damage that has been done to your skin from you not protecting it the way you should. And so she's like, okay, my goodness, like, help me, what do I do? I let her know, because you couldn't see it at the surface level. The surface level, her skin was flawless. She had normal skin, it was flawless. I let her know that in a good 15 years, all of those spots that she was seeing at the dermis level were going to surface on the epidermis level if she continued to care for her skin the way she was caring for her skin. So she's like, okay, show me what I have to do. So just because you have wonderful, beautiful skin and you do not see anything wrong with it at the time, trust me, if you are not taking the kind of precautions that you need to take to care for your skin and to protect your skin from the sun, things are happening at the dermis level, and it will eventually make it to the epidermis. It will eventually, it's going to give it a good 10, 15 years, depending where you are in your 20s, but it's going to happen. So that is the importance of sun care, and, using sunscreens for our skin. So there are two types of sunscreens out there. So we have one, okay, first actually let me talk about sunscreen in general. Let me just talk about just overall sunscreen before I actually get into the two types of sunscreen. So sunscreen. So protection for our skin, protecting it from burning, protecting it from the damage that is being done to it at the dermis and epidermis level as well. If it is a requirement, like the National Cancer Society say that we should be using a sunscreen, doesn't matter what your complexion is, it doesn't matter, of at least 30. So an SPF, sun protector factor, that's what the acronym, at least 30%, all skin types, all skin colors, doesn't matter. And we should be applying that to our skin. Yeah. at least 2 hours, that every 2 hours we should be applying that when we're outside. So that's what we should be doing with sunscreen, regardless. At an SPF of 30. So now you've got an SPF of 30, and that is at 96% coverage. Like 96% coverage from the rays that are coming at it. And the SPF only covers, it is only for UVB. It does not protect UVA. The SPF is the protection for the outer skin, for burning, for cancer, or for burning, I should say. And so that's all it is. So it has nothing to do with UVA. So that is at, so 30, if you're using a 30 SPF, you're getting 96% protection. If you're using a 50 SPF, you're getting about 98 protection. I know in Canada and in Europe, they say that 50 is really all you need, or like some say 50 plus, which is fine too. But I've noticed more so in mass than in prestige, where they have 70 or where they have 100. You know what? There is no sunscreen that can protect your skin 100%. But what is going to end up happening is that the chemicals, because more chemicals are added to products that are higher than 50%, it's going to irritate the skin. So that's all it's going to do. It's just going to irritate the skin, but it's not going to protect it anymore. Because if you're at 50% and it's 98% protection from the sun, from the UVB rays, it's I think like 70% or 80% is something like 99%, and there is no sunscreen out there that can protect your skin at 100%. It doesn't exist. So 90, but it's going to irritate the skin, and it's going to be very heavy on the skin. So 50% is good. That's all you really need. You don't need anything more than that. And so now with the, it shouldn't be any less than 15%. So 15%, and 15% could be like for city travel. You're going to work, you're in your car, you hop out your car, you go into, into work. So you're in, you're out. You're not really spending a lot of time out. It could be, maybe for out, but then you're going to have to apply it more because it's not as much in there. And so, or even for winter probably, but still you would have to apply more. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought. But anything, and again, UVB, anything under, so from 2 to 14%, it is only